Back with the coach, Cam Abbott. Cam, we just talked about this in the last segment that we did. You're coach in Cornell, and coaches do and mean so much, I think, to individuals. Mike Schaefer was your coach at Cornell. Just the influence he had on you to this day.
Sure. It's tough to wrap that all up into one answer.
Yeah, sure.
Mike, you remember not what people say or what they did, but how they made you feel, you know, and Mike always, and still does, and he's had a tremendous career, which I think this is going to be his last season coaching, in fact, but he makes men feel, and everybody feel valued, feel important, feel part of the team, and their contributions are necessary and valid, and also the impacts that he would have, I would describe, on me would be doing things to the best of your ability, doing them thoroughly, and making sure that that you don't cut any corners, because it's the game of hockey, and how you pursue anything in your life can be summed up in how you do everything. And if you cut corners in something, then you're only cheating yourself and cheating your teammates and those that you love and those you work with. So there's a lot of life lessons you learn during your college years, but particularly with a guy like Mike Schaefer and his staff as well. It was a really valuable 4-year experience for myself and Chris and everybody else he touched.
Let me ask you about yourself then. You're in that position now. Coaches are leaned upon for guidance. They're very influential. How are you in that position now? You've been coaching for quite some time.
Yeah.
But what do you want kids down the road to think about you?
We've had some tremendous coaches, and I think none of them are perfect, and none of them claim to be perfect.
Yeah.
So I like to reflect and take the best parts of all the different coaches that have been fortunate to have played for and also work with, and try and remember that as I approach my everyday. But for me, relationships, it's so evident how important they are to create those relationships, good, effective relationships with your players and with the staff that you're working with, has been something I've focused on, as well as communicating effectively and making sure that guys understand what's being asked of them, and also how you can help them in listening more.
Sure.
There's been some coaches I've played for that they're not interested in listening, and they often haven't found the most success with their teams. And those that are open-minded to not having all the answers, but want to engage in the dialogue with the players to help find answers, is both for individuals but also as a team. Something I try and remember on a daily basis too. So it's there's so many parts to it. It's fascinating how right now, for instance, with 23 guys on our roster, those are 23 relationships that I'm trying to manage, as well as 8 to 10 immediate staff that we're working with, and keeping that in mind every day.
So you leave Cornell, and I've mentioned this many times, you wanted to pursue and be a professional hockey player. I know you and your brother had a difficult time, but there's a couple of stories we're going to get to in a couple of events, but this one here, you did play a lot of games in Shreveport in the CHL, and you were Rookie of the Year that year, so your first year is pretty good. You scored 19 goals, 48 points in 36 games, so a pretty good year. But I want to ask you about you and your brother and some chiclet situation. They both had to go to a dentist, maybe someone, Chris, has root canal situations in the same game.
Wow.
In the same game, you touched both of you? No?
I don't think I'm going to get into any details around any of these stories. Yeah, I'm.
You seem we ran into Chris and his stick hit your teeth, and then later on in the game, you kind of bumped into him again?
That's a good point. Yeah, we saw a lot of stuff that year.
And you're on the same team.
The Central Hockey League was fascinating for the amount of stuff that happened during the course of the season. Yeah, I might have. I think I got high-sticked earlier in the game, and it was in fact Chris that got me. But the second situation was not intentional. Yeah, it's okay.
And that was for the Mudbugs in Shreveport.
That was, yeah. Scott Musket, we have to thank for his belief in us. He was the head coach and now general manager of that organization down there. What a wonderfully positive person that helped us in our career and gave us that opportunity to show what we could do.
Well, there's a lot more in that first year. We're going to get to it on our next episode. It's a pretty neat story. We'll be back with more Wolves hockey after this.